All right, everybody, welcome to Tuesday, October the 8th. Yes, I am back. I am here for the Halloween goodness because we love Halloween this time of year because it's Halloween time, of course. There's so much goofy, cool stuff going on. If you drive down your neighborhoods, you're driving around town, people's houses are becoming spookified, you know, they're getting all spooky and they got I have seen actually, just in my own neighborhood, two very big spider webs coming off the house. It's like the whole side of the house is big spider web, big spider on it. Really cool stuff this year people are doing. Hope everyone's starting to get an idea on what their costumes are going to be. We got that costume party coming up at the end of the month that we'll do on Halloween itself. That's always a good time. Everyone's got cool costumes. I'm excited to see what everybody's figured out for this year. Hopefully nobody does a candy corn. I've seen candy corn show up as a costume. I mean, it does every year, but it seems like I've seen it a bit more this year. Makes me a little nervous. Candy corn, not so good. What's weird too is I actually saw a list. I saw two lists of, and I checked them out, the most popular candy by state. And I thought for sure, I wasn't even thinking about it. It was only because it happened that it would freak me out. There's states out there that the favorite candy corn of the state is candy corn. Did I say that right? Favorite state, there's certain states, their favorite candy is candy corn. That means the majority of people in the state like to eat candy corn. Weird. Just saying. It's weird. And California was not one of them. Although, I don't remember what California was. It might have been Skittles. Or M&Ms, something. Most of them were basic, all the normal stuff, nothing weird. You know, there's a couple old school ones. I thought there was one, I don't remember which one it was. It might have been like Vermont or something like that. And it was a Swedish fish. Swedish fish. Swedish fish were really popular when I was a kid. And now I don't even know that you can, I guess you can still buy them. We must be able to still buy them if they're popular in some other state. But lest I digress about the candy we're all going to eat this month, and then in November, and then in December. It is that time of year, guys. If you're not going to the gym, you might as well start, or just wait. No, go ahead and start. There's no point in waiting. Just, you've been thinking about it, go to the gym, start that exercise, just do it. It's going to help with all the extra stuff we're going to eat this time of year. But, I'm looking forward to all the good food. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. All right, we're going to get started. We're going to do things a little bit different today because we like to do things different from time to time. And we did a lot of work on the new podcast. Now, if you were in building last week, you might have seen in the afternoons, we did air the podcast live in the building so that you guys could hear them and see. This is a really cool thing that, we got some folks to work on and whatnot. And the podcast is The Creepy Tales of Hollow Hills, a fictitious town in the Appalachian Mountains where spooky stuff just happens all the time. The stories are they're scary to some bit. I mean, if you're listening to them in the dark late at night and it's just you, you might get a little creeped out. But otherwise, they're spooky, but they're not going to freak you out completely. But they're really good. And one of our own out here in the audience, Eamon, is the narrator of those stories. Did a very good job, and we're enjoying it very much. We've got 3 episodes out so far. They're going to air every Tuesday and Thursday through the month of October. And then we'll be back with new Creepy Tales of Hollow Hills for December. Yes, a Christmas version of Creepy Tales. Yeah, we'll see what that's like. And we're having so much fun with it. I think we're going to go ahead and do a springtime one and a summertime one. And then we'll be back in October with the Creepy Tales again. So we've got a month full of these. Want to give you guys a good experience. Now, they're podcasts, so you got to go to a podcast app, right? So Apple iTunes, if you have an Apple smartphone, you can go to Apple iTunes, download the app, search for The Creepy Tales of Hollow Hills, boom, you follow it, you get them all the time, you just listen on your headphone. That was like a phone, but you just listen through the headphone, right? Or you can play it like music. It plays like music on your phone, right? Spotify is another music app that you can use. You download it, it's free. You listen to all the podcasts you want on there. So you can listen to them that way. Now you can go to YouTube as well. YouTube does a podcast. YouTube requires a video aspect. So it's actually a video or a podcast. You can just listen to it as a podcast, but there is a video component. There's no action going on or nothing like that. It's just a basic scene. There's an opening and a closing. It's kind of cool. But you can check them out in those 3 places. Listen to them as soon as they come out. They air, like I said, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And here we're going to give you a listen right here. If you hadn't had a chance to go download those, you're struggling to find them, we're here to help. So here is today's episode, brand new for you guys to listen to, which is, all right, today's episode is The Bats of Shadow Hollow. Check it out.
Welcome to the creepy tales of Hollow Hills. We will journey deep into the legends of this awkward little town. Today's episode, The Bats of Shadow Hollow. This podcast is presented by VCDI and TCDI. In the heart of Hollow Hills, there was a secluded cave known as Shadow Hollow. The locals avoided it, whispering tales of strange occurrences and eerie sounds that emanated from its depths. The cave was said to be home to a colony of bats, but these weren't ordinary bats. They were the guardians of an ancient, restless spirit. One autumn evening, a curious young man named Ethan, new to the town, decided to explore the cave. Armed with only a flashlight and his courage, he ventured into the Shadow Hollow. Ignoring the warnings of the townsfolk, the entrance of the cave was wide and yawning, like the mouth of some slumbering beast. And as Ethan stepped inside, the air grew colder, thicker, as if the very atmosphere was warning him to turn back. Ethan's flashlight flickered, casting shadows that danced on the jagged walls. The deeper he went, the more unsettling the atmosphere became. Suddenly, he heard a fluttering of wings, a sound that echoed through the cave like whispers in the dark. He pointed his flashlight upwards and saw the bats, hundreds of them, hanging silently from the ceiling. They stared at him with eyes that seemed to gleam with an unnatural intelligence. Undeterred, Ethan pressed on. He soon reached the heart of the cave, where the air was thick with an overwhelming stench of decay. His light fell upon a large ancient stone altar covered in cryptic carvings. As he approached, he felt a cold breeze brush against his skin, raising the hairs on the back of his neck. Suddenly, the bats awoke, shrieking and swirling around him in a frenzy. Ethan stumbled back, his heart pounding as the cave filled with the deafening sound of beating wings. Amidst the chaos, he saw something move behind the altar, a shadow darker than the rest, taking form. His flashlight flickered again, and then went out completely, plunging him in total darkness. Panic surged through him as he heard the sound of heavy, dragging footsteps approaching. Ethan fumbled to turn his light back on, his fingers trembling. When the light finally flickered to life, it illuminated a pale, ghostly face, inches from his own, its hollow eyes wide with fury. The spirit let out a blood-curdling scream, its icy breath chilling Ethan to the bone. The bat swooped down at him as the spirit lunged forward. The last thing Ethan saw before the flashlight shattered on the ground was the spirit's gaping mouth full of sharp, broken teeth, ready to consume him. And then, there was nothing but darkness and silence. The townsfolk found the cave empty the next day, but Ethan was never seen again. From then on, the bats of Shadow Hollow seemed more restless, their eyes glowing red in the darkness as if they gained a new guardian, a young man, lost forever to the curse of the cave.
Yeah, bats, man. I'm not a big fan of bats. Actually, I don't care about them too much. But I was I was dive bombed by a bat once, and I turned to run from the bat. I ran right into a picnic table. It was dark. Obviously, bats are out at night. It was dark. I plowed into a picnic table right into my shin. I have a permanent dent in my shin from this potential attack of a rabid bat. I knew it was coming for me. I had to bolt and run. Crashed into the table, immediately fell over, crashed into our RV, immediately fell to the ground, came inside to get away from the vicious man-eating bat, and everyone was just laughing at me inside the trailer. What are you running from, bats? Until they saw the blood pouring out of my leg. It was just pouring right down my leg. Big gash, had to tape it up. It's ugly, and now I got a big permanent dent in my leg from not the bats at Shadow Hollow. But that is it, guys. That is the podcast. That is our own Eamon out there doing the great voice narration for that stuff. Good job, buddy. We got lots more for you. Did a really good job on that. More stories to come. If you like that, you can go listen to it again. You can listen to the first 3. We got more coming Thursday, every Tuesday and Thursday. As for the morning routine, back to business tomorrow and through the rest of the year. Yeah, the year is winding down. We got October, November, and December, and then we're into 2025. It's that close, everybody. It's under 100 days to Christmas. Let's go, right? So, you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday, on the morning routine. Take care.